Fam, what's up? We are back on the CEO Pulse podcast where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. Another Mindset Monday series with my co-host, I got a horn and everything, Justin Thorstad.
The crowd goes wild. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Feel like that one.
I don't know. I feel it pretty I feel a little rusty.
Yeah,
it's been a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
it's been a couple of weeks. So it's been a minute. I'm pretty excited getting back in the groove of things. And we're gonna dive deep straight into one of the most common topics, right? And maybe a common topic, but it's definitely not a easy to surpass challenge by any means.
Yeah, I don't think it's talked about enough either.
Yeah, exactly. Men tend to be very, very guarded, right? In terms of, I got this. I can do this. I can, when it comes to pushing through adversity and all that stuff, we always have like that chip on the shoulder, right?
Mm-hmm.
The provider, the manly, and everything in place. But what about the vulnerable side? Like, I don't think we talk enough about fear and the shit that happens as we're going through just the process of opportunity. So we're going to be tapping into that, and you came up with two sides of fear, which I think it's very interesting, right? Let's break that down. Let's break that down, right? So side number one. The first one is going to be a fear of success, a fear of the opportunity itself. And then on the other side of that coin, we have a fear of actually failing at that pursuit of that success.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's break it up.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a topic that I came up with because it's something that I've been dealing with for the last probably 30 days. Mm-hmm. It was interesting to know that, we're in some kind of alignment there. You're dealing with the same thing.
Yeah.
Different content, same context, same structure. And so, just looking at myself and my situation, it was like, there's opportunities on the horizon. And thinking about stepping into those is a little scary. Like, what if I do step forward and I fall flat on my face? And, what if I step forward and it doesn't turn out to be what I think it should be? Or, what if it just doesn't pan out? And then I'm insufficient, insecure, and all those kinds of things, yeah? Well, and then the other hand of that is fear of failure. Failure meaning, like, what if I don't even get started? What if I don't take advantage of those opportunities? Then where am I going to be if I take that route? And that fear of regret and those overwhelming emotions. So to me, it's like, okay, ping-ponging on my different options here, plan A, plan B, they're both going to suck in regards to the fear is still there. Like, it doesn't go
moral
anywhere.
Of the stories is like you're still fucked because you're afraid.
Yes.
Right. And
yes.
I mean you as in me and everybody, doing whatever, taking whatever action. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then the realization hit me. It's like, wait a minute, I'm going to be scared with either plan. And again, my definition of fear, it's not one that I created, it's one I stole, is false evidence appearing real, right? So both of the stories I'm making up about taking advantage of the opportunities or the fear of failure and the fear of regret, it's like they're both stories, right? And it's both false evidence in my mind that my mind's making up a story about what they think is going to happen. And like somehow that's gospel or the truth because I know it's not. But the mind still goes there. And when my mind goes there, the body follows with its corresponding emotions in alignment with those thoughts. Yeah. Right? And that's how we work 1,000%. As human beings. And so it's just breaking down. It's like, okay, if I want to fight to be right about my stories, which story do I want to be right about? Stepping into those opportunities and seeing what happens and giving it my best and giving it my all, not being attached to the outcome. At least then it's new experiences. Yeah. Whereas if I fold and I'm a hostage to the fear of the failure and the regret, like, well, I know what that's going to get me nowhere. Yeah. In fact, it'll be a reversal or a retreat, right? So if I'm going to be right about a story, I might as well be right about failing forward. Right. I might as well be right about taking action and saying yes to those opportunities and see what could happen. And what I've noticed is the only way that I have found to really manage that fear is to expand my comfort zone. Expand what I think is possible. Create new evidence now by stepping into new opportunities.
You're talking crazy because that's scary. So how are you going to manage your fear but being more afraid? That's rhetorical. That was my way of adding drama to the conversation.
How am I going to manage my fear by still being afraid? It's just a simple understanding of you got to become comfortable being uncomfortable. And what I mean by that is the only thing that's scary about stepping into something unknown is the fact that it's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And so that's route A. Route B is I don't want to step into something uncomfortable. I want to know that it's familiar, which means I already have a memory of it, which means I've already experienced it, so it's predictable. Which one of those do you think is going to expand you Which one of those do you think you're going to learn new information to be information? Which one of those are you going to feel proud about yourself that at least you took a step in? The retreat and the regret, or the potential opportunities moving forward?
Yeah.
Like, just because you take on an opportunity doesn't mean it's going to become successful, but you're going to learn something. You're going to feel a little more proud about yourself. You're going to feel a little more empowered, a little more inspired, a little more powerful of yourself, that at least I said yes and I took action and I stepped into the unknown where I had no idea what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, and in that pursuit, everybody knows it's watching. At least you feel a little like excited because you're present, you're paying attention. Like, it's uncharted territory. Like, there's something that's also exciting about that. There is an allure to that adventure. And I think, especially for men or women with a little more masculine energy, like, that's the adventure. That's what life's about.
Yeah.
You know? So,
I mean, it really, I mean, I think it becomes the salt and pepper, right, of life as you get going with things. But the challenge is getting going. It's so easy to find justifications for why it's okay to be afraid, for why we can stop, any activity, any action, anything that we're doing on its tracks just because we feel afraid. It's easy to find that. I mean, shit, I can't. I mean, I found at least 100 or 200 of last, week.
oh, totally.
Yeah.
All
you know
kinds
what?
of reasons
I got to do.
deflect.
Yeah, I have to do stuff on the education business or the coaching business, right? And then there's some stuff that I got to work out on the brokerage side, so I'm not gonna tap that. But there's massive opportunity bubbling up in a couple of different areas, and it's intimidating. It's another level, man. Every time you step up, every time you get to a new level of performance, right? And I'm not talking financial levels or societal levels or anything like that. It's just a different level of you, different level of performance, and you're operating at a higher scale. You have more responsibility. You need to move faster for certain things or whatever. It's gonna demand a different version of you, and breaking into that different version requires stuff that you haven't done in the past, and that shit's scary.
Yeah,
that shit can be uncomfortable. That can be one of those things that makes you feel weird. We have a guys group, we have a men's group, and we get together and we have really cool conversations and whatnot. And we always do a check-in, right? Like, hey, what's up? How's you how you been? It's been a couple of weeks and whatever. Like and it's important to put yourself on check or have that awareness of where we at, as individuals.
Sure.
So I walked in and I think the previous maybe 4 or 5 days, I felt pissy, dude. I felt like I was upset. Things were going great. I mean, I came back from a great weekend at the beach and whatever, and I was still feeling pissy. Like I couldn't put my finger on it. And it was one of the things like, man, this is throwing me off. I don't know why, but it's
in resistance to
yeah,
something.
I'm in resistance to something. I don't know what the fuck that is, but I'm in resistance to something. And sometimes just having that level of understanding that there's something different, right? Can be a bit scary. Can be, what's going on? Is it? Do I feel like I'm failing at certain things? Do I feel like I'm not tackling stuff in to the best of my ability? Am I underperforming? Am I, or is this picture that I'm looking at just so grand and so out there that I'm not used to it, and that's freaking me out?
Sure.
Yeah.
But how I reconcile it within myself is this. I would rather be scared about stepping into a new opportunity, uncharted territory, unpredictable land, than I would feeling like stuck and regretful and like a failure, like I'm just not making any progress because I'm not willing to move forward. Like they both suck and it's unescapable, but you gotta choose, like, which shit sandwich am I gonna eat? And, I think the main, you know what I'm saying? Like, they both suck, but they're both shit sandwiches, but you got to eat one. So you might as well choose wisely, right?
Yeah.
At least choose one that that new possibilities could happen, instead of over here with the path of not getting into action and retreat and regret. Like, what to expect over here.
Yeah.
Why would you choose that? You're just going to get more of the same. And for me, it's like, I found myself over there a little bit because I wasn't really sure what path to take moving forward. I wasn't decided yet.
Yeah.
And it felt like moving forward, I had a couple different options because I'm in a massive reorganization, restructuring of my life, of my businesses, and, looking at results and then feeling stressed. And I think the only cause of really stress is understanding that this is where I am. These are my current set of results. This isn't like a life sentence. It's temporary. However, I wish I was over there. And that lack of acceptance, that lack of surrender of this is just where I am, is number one cause of stress, because you always want to be there, not where you're at. And the lack of acceptance to that, and in fact, the inner resistance to what is the main cause of that stress.
I think that's a very common thing amongst entrepreneurs, right? I am here and I'm performing and I'm leveling up. I'm not in the same space that I was yesterday. So we know that we're moving forward, yet we want to be there.
Yeah, I should be there by now.
Yeah. And I mean, that can be a thief of joy, right? Like enjoying the journey. I think it's amazing. But it goes to show that just not being present can cause that, that foundation under you to shake.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, how do you deal, for example, like one of the most important things is recognizing fear, right? Recognizing fear doesn't always come and through the belly, feeling and your legs just, quivering and quivering. What's the word? Yeah, something like that.
Quivering,
yeah.
Shaking.
So it doesn't always manifest that way, right? Mm-hmm. So what when we're in certain spaces, like what does fear look like, and more importantly, what is it doing? And this goes to the people, whoever's listening out there, like more importantly, what is it making you to do? What is it forcing you to do when it comes to action or inaction, right? Recognizing it, I think it's a very important thing. To me, I couldn't put my finger on that thing, and I'm using myself as a vulnerable example here. But I couldn't put my finger on the reason I was feeling like that. I was feeling off. I wasn't feeling connected. And at the end of the day, it all came back to this one thing. I had a really great conversation with somebody, and it turned out. I mean, it turns out to be a really big opportunity, right? For me, something different that I haven't done, and I've been, it's exciting. Now I look at it and like it's exciting. Why am I having some resistance, towards it? And it's fear. Like at the end of the day, if I'm being real, like shit, it's intimidating, it's something bigger. So that to me, coming to grips on understanding what that looked like for me was important, right?
The self-awareness.
Yeah. So ask yourself the question, right? What does fear look like to you in your space? I mean, obviously we have a big ass dog that's rabid and has big teeth. Like it's gonna feel one way, right? We're gonna feel it in the belly. The legs are gonna shake, but it doesn't always manifest that way. It may manifest, it'd be a lot more subtle as we're going through that, process of emotions.
Yeah. Feeling pissy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Feeling pissy. Yeah, exactly. I mean, high levels of stress. And at the end of the day, it's going to have, a very similar effect, which is fight or flight.
Totally. Yeah. Absolutely. So it's having that level of self-awareness to catch those triggers, those cues of why am I in this state, and to process self and have that insight.
Yeah.
So, but the thing for me is, the way out of that fear, the way out of that resistance, resentment, all of that stuff is just simply taking a look at, okay, if I'm not deciding which way to go, let me go sit down with my options and what are just some action steps that I can take? Like, and it could be the smallest thing possible. Maybe it's a phone call to ask a question. Maybe it's reviewing some financials to like, let me double check this so I have this right. Like, let me get new information by being in action so I can make better informed decisions.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like most people don't want to move into action because they're not committed to a decision yet because they don't want to make the wrong choice. And it's like, well, that's pretty fucking self-righteous of you. How do you know what the right choice is until you've decided something, you move into action, you get a reaction, new information, and then based on that, you get to decide, okay, this is the correct path, I'm going to move forward, or nope, I hit a wall, there's a major obstacle, I need to pivot and go a different direction. Like, action is going to trump everything, no matter how small it is. That little tiny, like, listen, everybody wants to take the elevator to success.
Yeah.
The problem is it doesn't fucking exist. It's a staircase, and it's just step by step by step by step, And I just found myself over the last probably good 2 weeks, man, really just like tired, like frustrated with the result, tired of the climb, and just in resistance.
Yeah.
And, I got to remind myself, wait a minute, the body's designed to walk uphill, man. Like, that's fine if you're tired of taking step after step.
Yeah.
Fine, stop.
Take a break.
Take a breath. Take in the view, because you've come a ways. Remind yourself of where you came from, and that was a pivotal moment for me. I don't know what came over me, but something said, look at the past, and I began to, connect the dots, looking back, and be like, fuck, man, look where I started, and look at what I went through when I was willing, courageous enough to take a step forward on. Look how far I've come. And that really resource myself is about taking a look at the reverse gap. Here I am. And all my pissiness and resistance, and I suck, and you know. But look,
are you trying to tell me something, bro?
yeah. But look where I started, and look at what's in between.
Yeah.
Because so often we can become overwhelmed by the feelings of I'm not getting to where I want to be. I should be there. It's not happening in my timeline, and we're looking at the gap of where we are compared to where we want to be, and it seems like this insurmountable cavern, like you know what I mean.
Cavern?
Yeah, that we have to
A hole
bridge
in the
this
ground?
gap.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's like, it seems insurmountable. Like, it's not going to happen. It's like, whoa, pump the brakes. Let's look at where we just came from, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Make
get
it
a new
bite-sized,
perspective. Right? Yeah, chunk it down.
Well, you mentioned making the right decision. I think that goes to, that speaks to the other side of fear, right? Which is failure. Okay, so we can be afraid of the opportunity, the possibility, the outlook, not even the outcome, just the outlook, just the thought. It's like, holy shit, that could happen, that could shift, and it doesn't make rational sense, right? To be afraid of a better life, to be afraid of success, to be afraid of betting on yourself, and just giving it all you got. The thing that it does is that it pushes you out of a world that you already know into the unknown. So when we see it that way, it's really not being afraid of the potential outcome. It's really afraid of the unknown just because we haven't visited that space yet.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the other side of fear, like, what if I fail? What if I go all out and then I fail? And what's going to happen then? Well, how am I going to, I don't know, get clients? How am I going to fulfill? How am I going to, make a name for myself? How am I going to be respected in that space? Again, worthiness kicks in. You name it, right?
Yeah.
That can be. I used to think that was that was the fear, that was the thing. But now I understand as we keep moving along, just new challenges and progressing right through the entrepreneur journey. It's one side of fear, but the one where the possibilities can be big. Like, I think that one is the biggest percentage of fear that really happens.
Yeah, the fear of success is a real thing.
Yeah.
Because that level of success yet doesn't fit the image I hold of myself. I walked in, I saw in your office Psycho-Cybernetics, like one of my top 5 all favorite books. It's that self-image, it's a servo mechanism, you know what I mean? Yeah. And if you don't learn to adjust and grow and adapt that thing to get bigger level things to fit, there's going to be a tremendous amount of fear instead of excitement. But so what? Okay, so you're stepping into uncharted territory, new experiences, and now you're afraid to make the wrong choices?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Of course you are. You don't know what you're doing. You're ill-equipped. You're insufficient. You've never been here before. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why do you think that's not going to be part of the equation?
Yeah.
Now, so long as you take small steps and you just keep moving into action, hopefully you're going to get good feedback on a frequent, consistent basis to know if you need to course correct. But you make a big leap onto something, you may fall and nothing catches you.
No.
But so fucking what?
No.
Is it really going to take you down, your emotions, your thought process, or is it going to just not give you the results that you want? Like, you're still in there and you can rebuild. You can pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and try again. Go at it from a different angle. At least now you have more information that you had at the end of that compared to when you started with no information. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I think, and this goes back to a piece of advice I got from a friend of mine a long time ago. He's a pilot. Fighter pilot, and we were having lunch. He's also in real estate, Joe Bemis. But we were having lunch. I think we were getting our real estate license. It was years ago. And we're sitting down. We started talking about personal growth, and we were like, yeah, and this, and mindset, and going, and this is, and I took it from him, but this is what he said, right? Like, once you start walking, once you commit, and you start walking in a certain direction, it becomes a matter of when you're gonna get there. Like, you're just gonna get there, you're gonna die on the way, right? But it's like, there's no other. That's the road that you picked. And if you get ran over by a bus, that's a different story. It kind of sucks. But if you keep walking in that direction, like, what's stopping you, right? So it is. it is understanding that we can have that big think. We can create. We are creators by definition. I mean,
Clearly.
as soon as we're born, we start creating. We start creating smiles with our parents or chaos with our parents. I mean, you name it, right? But we are creators by definition. And that process goes throughout our lives. Now, we have the ability to tap into that power, into the power of changing a space, changing an environment, changing somebody else's emotion, changing somebody else's life or outlook on life, right? So why is it so scary to look upon ourselves and do it for ourselves?
Yeah, I think it's just a lack of understanding. I mean, the simple fact of the matter is we are a mass of molecules held together with energy. Yeah. Yes? And our energy causes an effect based on our intentions, our actions, our behaviors, our emotions. Yes? Like you said, the child causing an effect on the parents, either of love and joy or stress and disappointment and whatever, right? So we're always causing an effect. And I think people lose sight of that because they're always waiting for something external to cause an effect on the inside of them. Yeah. And it's like, what are you waiting for? Why don't you go cause an effect out there? And that effect will come back around. Like it's the law of reciprocity. It's going to affect you. So positively or negatively. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like having a clear vision of what the potential is, what you want the end result to be about, moving into action, noticing the fear, the false evidence appearing real, realizing that's my mind making up a story. That doesn't mean that it's actually factual. And let me just reconcile myself and realize I'm the one witnessing the mind and body, that I'm not my mind and my body. And I'm going to move forward and I'm going to take the stairs, not wait for the elevator. And I'm just going to start building. And yes, I'm going to come up against obstacles. But without obstacles, how do you exercise that faculty of resilience? How do you know your power until you're under attack? Like, how are you going to exercise and build these faculties to become more successful if they're not tested, if they're not demanded of you? Yeah. And if you're not willing to do that, then you got to eat this shit sandwich over here called failure and regret. And to me, that's the biggest poison and toxin we can take in. Yeah.
No, 100%, man. I totally agree with that. I think one of the biggest things against fear, either success, coming from the potential of success, or fear against failure, is going to be the level of commitment that we can give anything, right? Bring it down to basics. To one thing is going to be commitment. How committed are you to pursuing, whatever that thing that's giving you fear, to conquering it? Is it? And of course, again, there's different types of situations, right? I mean, again, if you have a big rabid dog in front of you, like, we're going to be pretty committed to running, away and not getting bit by that dog.
But I would say something physical like that is more of danger than
that's
fear,
exactly. Instead of perceived fear, I just want to make that clear. Now, as we're going through the journey, right? Like, how committed are you to that picture, to that bigger thing? Are you settling for the stuff that you think you should be settling for, quote unquote, should be settling for? Or are you really, tapping into your creative power and thinking bigger, right? Yeah. Are you tapping into your personal power and making ripples, right? Making a wave. A lot of people, like, one of the biggest things, I want to help. I mean, talk to, I don't know, 90% of the population out there. Like, what do you want? I want to do something to help people. If you talk to 90% of the entrepreneurs, and I'm just throwing a percentage out there, but
just made that shit up on the spot.
Yeah, exactly. I just made it right now. So it's what Google does. No, but I mean, you talk to a lot of entrepreneurs and like, what's the thing? Well, I want to help people. I want to help, right? Why not tapping, why not using that creative power also to contribute, right? Mm-hmm. And really, leverage not just, the potential that we have as creators, but the commitment that we have to a vision to make that impact. Now, when you hold on to something that big, when you hold on to something that's bigger than you, it's bigger than that survival state that we're trying to break free from, and then just to kind of go off on a little bit of a tangent here, but when we're in survival mode, sometimes it's easier to act in the face of fear. Why? Because you're in survival mode. You're going to fucking die. Yeah. Desperation. You got to make the rent. You got to make something. So like, you have to dig in deeper, right? And figure shit out. Otherwise you're going to get evicted, or you're not going to eat for 3 days.
You're gonna take your car.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So fear becomes, diminished. I mean, it's still there, right? But your priorities and your concerns are bigger, and a lot of times we can use that as fuel to overcome. Now, what happens down the road is that you start to do better as an entrepreneur, and then you get more comfortable. And like, okay, that fear of loss or that survival state may not be absolutely present all the time. Maybe it comes back because you make it. I mean, I made some stupid decisions, and like I put myself in tough spots. Like, oh shit, okay.
Well,
cool.
You get comfortable and therefore casual.
Yeah.
Shit starts decaying. And you're not paying attention because you think the shit's great.
It's part of the journey. Like entrepreneurship is not this.
I mean,
right?
I've never done that before.
Yeah. I mean, it's not this thing. This real nice climb. No, it's like, all right. You've seen the meme, but so it comes back, and when we're in that state, I think it's a lot easier to take. Not easier, right? But we have less resistance to it, to taking action. Now, what about when it's not, right? What if we can always perform at a level of instead of, from that survival fuel, perform from that creative fuel.
Yeah, inspiration
And create and just, wake up because you want to, make something better out of, whatever your vision is.
Yeah, well, and so here's the thing about inspiration, what I found.
Let me wrap that thought up because I'm going to forget. But I think that has a dual effect, right? It helps the people around you, but it also moves your ass when you're under fear. I know it moves me when I'm under fear.
Yeah, so fear is one motivator, right? The other one is inspiration. And yet so few people know how to utilize that faculty and that tool. And so I think for inspiration is, as you said, the vast majority of people and entrepreneurs, like the highest calling, the most worthy ideal is being of service to others. Yes?
Yeah.
And so people want to go out there and they want to do things for others. It's like, but wait a minute. What are you doing for you? What are you doing to serve you? And I do believe, for me, that inspiration is kept alive and, in fact, generated and nurtured and cultivated by doing for me. And serving me looks like stepping forward into the unknown. Serving me looks like expanding my zones of comfort.
Yeah.
Inspiration to me looks like creating new stories that make the old ones obsolete, not identifying with that fear. Like that's serving me to grow me because business and life are spiritual games. If you're not growing you, you're in a state of decay. And you want to help others, but you're in a state of decay, who the hell are you going to help? And who the hell would follow you, right?
Yep.
So if you want to be in service to others, just check in. How much am I serving me and how am I serving me? Not serving my needs, but serving my soul, serving my spirit and growing that through inspiration, enthusiasm, spirit from within, turning me on as a bright light.
Well, and that pushes you through that barrier.
100%.
100%. And then the fear of failure, I think it's a matter of just getting back out there, right? Getting punched in the face and then getting back out there again.
Yeah, like who the hell told you weren't going to get your ass kicked?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, right?
Yeah. Mike Tyson.
Tyson, yeah.
But then Teddy Roosevelt, too. And I forget the whole thing, but it's a beautiful little thing. And it says, like, there's so many people that are willing to get out there on the field, and they're willing to get punched in the face, and they're willing to get tackled. The dust and stuff off, and they keep going. And man, that's courage. That's the hero's journey. Yeah. But then there's the hecklers in the stands. Like, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. It's like, why don't you get the fuck on the field and play ball?
Yeah, the noise.
Let's see how you do, right? And so, but here's the thing. The hecklers in the stand talk to each other. The players on the field don't listen to the hecklers.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand what it takes to play ball. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, you can either inspire yourself to get on the field, know you're going to get roughed up here and there, but you're also going to score some goals. You're also going to have some wins. Yes, you're going to have some setbacks. Yes, you got a perfect plan on how you're going to score, and then all of a sudden you get punched in the face. Yes, that's going to happen. But what's the alternative? To sit on the bleachers all your life? And become a spectator? Like,
yeah.
And
about that.
There's not one human being that's a spectator that does not have regret. Prove me wrong. Yeah. Prove me wrong. Every spectator has regret. What if I would have played? What could I have done?
Yeah.
What was my potential? I have no idea because I never got on the field. What could I have been?
That's a scary thought, man. It's a scary thought.
Well, it'll take you down.
I'd rather get all the bumps and bruises on the way.
Absolutely. You heal from that shit.
And I mean, just know that I left it all out there, right?
Totally.
Fear,
that was my best.
Fear is definitely going to be one of those things that doesn't stop me. together. And I'm talking at a personal level. I think one thing also, it's important to know who to talk to. If you're feeling fearful, if you're feeling like, okay, cool, this thing's freaking me out, I don't know what it is, I can't put my finger on it. If you have a thought or feeling, an emotion or something like of that sort, right? A lot of times where ego will try to cover it up as confusing. It's confusing. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I don't. You're gonna put a shit ton of labels before you become vulnerable with yourself and say, "Fuck, I'm afraid of this because it's big, because it's good, because it's different, because it can just put me at a whole different level. I'm gonna have to perform at a whole different level, right?"
What a shame.
No, yeah. So if you come across something like that, you can't put your finger on it. You have to know who to talk to, right? You can't go speak to somebody who hasn't walked that path or is in the middle of that path with you, because they will simply not understand. And it may be somebody who loves you dearly, but they just don't have that
experience,
that understanding, that perspective,
frame of reference.
Yeah. Frame of reference. So I mean, talk to somebody who's going with it, with you. Squat up with somebody else, have conversations. And it's important to talk.
It is, and I call that vomit up. You know what I mean? Like there's times where if you get to the point where you're open and willing to be vulnerable, just vomit it out. Here's what it is. Yeah. Like most people vomit laterally or vomit down. Meaning people that don't have the results they have, that don't have the point of reference, because it's a little safer. Because the thought process is, well, they won't judge me because I'm better than them. Right?
Yeah.
And if you can learn to vomit up, meaning someone that is more successful, that has more experience, that's got more bumps and bruises, that has more wealth, that has more liberty in life. Because here's the key, ladies and gentlemen. If you vomit up, those people are going to look down and be like, you're ready. And I'm going to extend my hand and I'm going to support you in some way because I know where you're at because I've been there.
Yeah.
But for some reason, for most people, it's the scariest thing to do, vomit up, because then it's, they're going to know I'm insufficient. They're going to know I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, obviously you don't. That's why you're going to them for support.
That's the whole point of talking to somebody,
right? Yeah. But when someone's more successful than you and you come to them for support, like what you're going to find is that truly successful people want to help you.
Yeah.
They really do. They want to give you information. They want to give you perspective. They want to give you their trials and tribulations. And here's what to look out for. There's the pitfalls, because they want to see you win, because they have this abundance mentality of, if I help you win, it's not going to take from me. If I help you win, it actually helps me, because givers always gain. Yeah. So vomit up.
I like that. I love the concepts that you bring to the table, man. I think we have to work on your terminology, but
it works for me, brother.
No, I like it. Vomit up. Yeah, absolutely, man. Fear can be. It is. It's actually one of the things that we don't. I think women, they're a lot more open to talking about, stuff that, emotions that will stop them on their tracks and
more authentic about it.
Yeah, exactly. They're more authentic about it. I think just guys, because of the context of things and the way that we're raised societally, I mean, we tend to be more guarded when it comes to that vulnerable.
But that's no longer a fucking excuse. Men watching.
Like it's never been an excuse.
We understand the awareness
the
context
wasn't there,
of it.
Yeah.
But it's no longer like evidence to say, well, that's why I'm not vulnerable. Well, so what? Now what? Like, what are you going to do now moving forward? Like, when are you going to practice emotional vulnerability? Get rid of the guilt, get rid of the shame, and just accept yourself for who you are and where you're at, so that you can move past it. Because if you're in resistance to that, man, you're going to stay stuck. What you resist persists, because what you're in resistance to becomes the object of your consciousness, and now all you're doing is feeding it, staying stuck. So, like, at some point, you just got to decide to let that shit go.
Yeah, whatever is festering in there, and
there's no virtue in being a victim, even to yourself.
1,000%. And the context of that was to, for men, right? But I think it goes both ways. Women, I mean, although they're a lot more authentic about it. Like sometimes it can be intimidating to tap into a new industry, tap into something that's quote unquote dominated by men, right? And it can be daunting. But it's the same thing. Find your crew. Find your squad.
Yeah, I got my tribe, and one of those people in my inner tribe is my girlfriend. Yeah. Man, she's one of my best advisors and counselors. I can come to her and I just vomit everything. Yeah. My anger, my frustration, my excitement, my joy. And man, she's so objective, and she looks at it from so many angles. I'm like, and she gives me great advice, even though she's never been there.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about is my ability and willingness to be emotionally authentic with her and just spill it out. Like, here's what it is.
It's crazy. Something just when you talk about something, when you talk about things like fear, the level of clarity that you get just because you have to verbalize it and clarify it so it comes out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You say it, you're like,
that's
oh my God,
the work.
I didn't realize that's how I felt or that's how I looked at it.
Okay. Now it sounds stupid because it's so transparent and it's so clear now. But in my head, like it was scary. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. Fam, there you guys have it. I mean, it's 2 coins to fear, right? Fear of success or fear of failure. They both go hand in hand. At the end of the day, it comes down to having that level of clarity, right? Having that responsibility, that awareness, and really making that commitment to the path that you're taking on as you go through the process of being an entrepreneur. It's never going to be smooth sailing. You're going to have ups and downs, but what's going to happen is going to level up to the next step, and you're going to have ups and downs in that step, and then the next step, and then you're going to have ups and downs in that step, and every single level, it's going to require a different, better version of you, which can be scary, right? Fear is deceitful. Sometimes it's hard to identify, but if you're truthful with yourself, a lot of times you can get to that base, right? And it's really sitting there.
Well, and create time and space to be still and to sit with it and to acknowledge and identify what that is.
Yeah, 1,000%. Justin, great episode. I love you, bro. Where can somebody get a hold of you?
JustinThorstad.com or my cell number, 602-348-8534.
Are we putting those on the notes? Are we putting the phone number? Yeah, let's do it on the notes. We're going to do it on the show notes. And then, I'm going to make a fucking marketing campaign after your phone number.
Dude.
just for shits and giggles. All right. And fam, if you want to get a hold of me, you can find me on social media at Rafael Cortez CEO. Check out the YouTube channel. Check out the podcast. This is a two-way conversation. If you have comments, stuff that you want us to talk about, let us know. Okay, let us know. We're pretty responsive. So drop a comment and let's have a chat back and forth. And we'll catch you on the next one. Stay focused. You got this.